I built an AI model to predict every Premier League result in a game week. It ended up getting only 3 out of 10 correct. Yep, not so great. So, is football just impossible to predict? Or is my model just really bad? To figure that out, I trained a machine learning model on over 1,000 Premier League matches and then tested it on games it has never seen before. Alright, so here's what we're working with. I pulled 4 full seasons of Premier League data, plus everything from the current 25-26 season up to Matchweek 21. Every match, every score, and most importantly, the expected goals, or XG. If you don't know what XG is, it's basically a number that tells you how many goals a team should have scored based on the quality of their chances. So, if a team had an XG of 2.4 but only scored 1, that means they were unlucky. They created great chances, just didn't finish them. And that matters because goals can lie. A team can win 1-0 off a lucky deflection. However, XG tells you what actually happened on the pitch, so it's a good metric to use for predictions. Now, you can't just throw raw scores at a model and expect it to learn anything useful. You have to give it the right information, and in this case, the right features. So for every match, I looked at the last 5 games each team played, and I calculated a bunch of stats. Average expected goals created, average expected goals conceded, average goals scored, and average goals conceded over the last 5 games. Current form, basically how many points they've picked up in the last 5 games, their win-loss streak in the last 5 games, and where they sit in the table. Then here's the key move. Instead of feeding both teams' stats separately, I calculated the difference. So if Liverpool's recent XG is 2.1 and Burnley's is 0.8, the model sees a plus 1.3 advantage for Liverpool. That one number captures the gap between the two teams. So I did this for every stat, 7 features total, all differences, home team minus away team. Oh, and one more thing, I shifted everything by 1 game. The model never sees the current match stats, only what happened before. So there's no data leakage. Okay, so what actually makes the predictions? I use something called a random forest machine learning algorithm. And if you don't know what that is, here's the short version. Imagine you grab 300 football fans, and each one sees a random mix of stats. Some get form and expected goals, others get streak and table position. Then in the end, all 300 vote on who's winning. If 200 say the home team wins, and 100 say the away team wins, the model goes with the home win. Majority always rules. None of these voters are great on their own, but combine hundreds of okay-ish guesses, and they average out into something way better than any single guess. I made a whole video breaking down how random forests actually work. I'll link it here and in the description if you want the deep dive. But for this video, the important thing is 300 voters and majority wins. Alright, so I trained the random forest model on 80% of the matches, the older games, and tested it on the remaining 20%, games it had never seen before. And it ended up getting an accuracy of about 52%.
Wow, what a number.
Now, before you close the video, there are 3 possible outcomes in football: home win, away win, or draw. So guessing randomly gets you about 33%. So 52% accuracy with just 7 features? I wouldn't say that's too bad. But here's where it gets interesting. The model didn't treat every result equally. Home wins, it caught 74% of them, nearly 3 out of 4. Away wins, it got about half. But draws? Well, it predicted a draw only 11% of the time. Out of 89 draws in the test set, it barely spotted any of them. Basically, the model learned one big lesson from the data. Home teams usually win. So when in doubt, it just picks the home team. And what about draws? Well, think about it. When does a game end in a draw? When both teams are so evenly matched that nothing separates them. But the model's whole job is to find a difference. So when the stats are that close, it doesn't say this is too tight to call. It just picks whatever side has that slight edge. Okay, so here's the real test. I took everything the model learned from over 1,500 matches across 4.5 seasons and retrained it on all of it, every single game. Then I pointed it at Matchweek 22 of the current season, 10 fixtures it has never seen before. such as Man United versus Man City, Tottenham versus West Ham, Liverpool and Burnley, and so on. And the model gave a prediction for each of those 10 fixtures. And it doesn't just say win or loss, it gives probabilities. So for Liverpool versus Burnley, it predicted Liverpool to win with a 59.7% chance, 21.3% chance for a draw, and 19% chance for a Burnley win. Some predictions it was really confident about. Others were basically no better than a random guess. And that's actually telling you something. It means the teams are so close that the model can't find a difference. And those are the games most people don't get right. So, out of 10 matches, it got 3 right, which brings us back to where we started. So why only 3 out of 10? Well, here's what's interesting. Look at the predictions. The model picked Liverpool over Burnley, Manchester City over Man United, Villa over Everton. These are all reasonable picks. Most fans would have said the same thing. The problem is, none of them won. Because this wasn't a normal weekend. The Premier League said it themselves. None of the top 5 won, and every bottom 5 team avoided defeat. The whole table flipped. So the model did its job. It found the stronger team and backed them. But football doesn't care about who's stronger on paper, especially not on this weekend. And that's the real takeaway. The model didn't fail because it was bad. It failed because football is unpredictable. You can get the logic right and still get the result wrong. Now, could the model be better? Yeah, of course it can. If it knew who was actually on the pitch, injuries, suspension, who's starting, that changes everything. If it understood context like a new manager or a relegation fight, that would obviously help too. Head-to-head records, rest days between matches, maybe even a completely different model. But even with all of that, weekends like Matchweek 22 are why we watch football. This model had 7 features, no player data, no context, and it still picked the right favorites. They just didn't win. The margins, the upsets, one bad bounce off the post, that's not a problem to solve. That's the sport. If an AI could easily predict it, we wouldn't watch it. But let me know in the comments what features would you add and what accuracy do you think is actually possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.